Once upon a time, 75 million years ago, an evil ruler named Xenu was in charge of 76 planets in our sector of the galaxy. These planets suffered from terrible overpopulation, 178 billion beings on average per planet, in fact. To solve this problem, Xenu, with the assistance of psychologists, and under the pretense of a tax inspection, injected hundreds of billions of people with a mixture of glycol and alcohol, paralyzing them. Xenu then loaded all of these frozen people onto planes that looked exactly like DC-8s, but without engines, and transported them to a planet called Tigiak. These bodies were stacked around major volcanoes and incinerated with hydrogen bombs. The resultant glut of souls were literally vacuumed to movie theaters, treated with an ersatz Ludovico technique, and released. That done, they floated around aimlessly, bereft of identity, until higher-order beings evolved on that planet, now called Earth. All of the medical and psychological problems in the major creatures of this planet, called humans, can be derived from these souls, now called Thetans. Do you believe this story? Probably not. It sounds like silly science fiction, and in fact maybe the most famous piece of science fiction penned by author and self-help guru L. Ron Hubbard. But now imagine that you've paid upwards of $100,000 and had to sit through hundreds of hours of indoctrination to hear this information, or else you would get pneumonia and die. This silly story is one of the foundational doctrines of Scientology, a religion founded by Hubbard and based on his self-help book Dianetics. But we bring up this story just to get it out of the way. The silly beliefs of Scientology are fodder for humor the world over, joked about by Howard Stern, the FX television show Nip Tuck, even South Park did an amusing and relatively accurate telling of the story. But is this any more silly than a zombie son of God whose body is regularly digested by his followers? Is this any more silly than a history of Israelites in North America being told by a stone at the bottom of a hat? Or that one's sins can be ritualistically transferred to a chicken during a major holiday? To an atheist, not really. So let's ignore that for the rest of the hour and talk about the other things Scientology is known for. Harassment, brainwashing, abuse, censorship, destruction of families, destruction of livelihoods, and fraud. Again, is Scientology alone guilty of these things? No. But in its short history, the Church of Scientology has pursued them with vigor, and because of that, many critics believe that the Church of Scientology is worth special attention. And for the rest of this hour, that is what we will focus on. My name is Sam, and with me today is Mike. How are you, Mike?
Doing good.
All right, so we've got some very interesting news, don't we?
To say the least. This comes from us from the Southern Poverty Law Center. Black supremacist Nation of Islam pushes white-dominated Scientology. So somebody got chocolate in my peanut butter.
All right.
It turns out that the leader of one racist religious UFO cult is smitten with another UFO cult founded by a racist. Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the Nation of Islam, which the Southern Poverty Law Center has labeled as a racist hate group, has started integrating its ideology with that of L. Ron Hubbard's Church of Scientology.
Yeah.
That's right. The group that claims that Caucasians were created by an evil scientist for the purpose of suppressing black people has started getting cuddly with a church founded by a staunch supporter of South African apartheid.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
According to a May 31st article on Final Call, that's the Nation of Islam's newspaper, nearly 700 Nation members have become certified Hubbard Dianetics auditors, and more will soon be trained in Church of Scientology techniques to better prepare them as better servants and saviors of the people by helping to clear up their minds and lives.
Jeez. But this is really big.
This is really big. And if you're wondering what I mean by the Nation of Islam being a UFO cult,
yeah,
a lot of people are most familiar with, Malcolm X,
right,
who is persona non grata with them. He did not leave off well with them, so he is mentioned not once on their website.
Yeah, he left.
But what is mentioned on their website in a number of their speeches is the Mother Wheel.
Yes.
And if you're familiar with what the Mother Wheel is, you're actually a pretty rare individual. But for those of you who don't know, the Mother Wheel first appeared in an interview that Louis Farrakhan did after the Million Man March with Ted Koppel on Nightline in the mid-'90s. Mm-hmm. Basically, he gave a sermon after the Million Man March where he said that the Nation of Islam had an orbiting battle station, a city-sized spaceship,